So this week's episode of Demon Slayer was very dramatic, very serious, dropping some major bombshells, but something that really caught my eye was how much I enjoyed the few moments of comedy that was presented in this week's episode. The comedy has actually been pretty good for, I'd say, about half of this season so far. The intro comedy was a little iffy, but pretty much 4 onwards has been pretty spot on. But from having a man just very upset you dropped his precious food, something that he considers art and just considers this to be just a horrible disgrace, and you have to not only eat 1 but 2 bowls as you protect your sister so the muzzle doesn't come off. Stuff like that is just so entertaining to me because it's the simple comedy that really works. Not just the one and done kind of disposable sequences, but ones that are actually rather personal even though they're so ridiculous and funny. A man whose entire life and passion is built around these noodles being pretty much just tossed around, making it seem like you are nothing, it's understandable why he got so upset, but you can play that off as being rather funny rather than keeping it serious and rather dull. Having a man who pretty much has eyes for one person and one person only, that being this beautiful demon doctor, that everyone else is just a nobody and plain and boring, which then in result makes the older brother very upset that you are insulting his sister, and you would be only so lucky if you could have someone as perfect as her. That is also a very personal moment for our main character Tanjiro, not because it's some sick and twisted story, but rather, how dare you insult my family, I will just beat you up for that. And I love the simple moments like that, to even this demon doctor saying, hey, don't kick his ass, and then instead of kicking his ass, you're just tossing him, trying to find the loophole, and it pisses her off. The simple moments that aren't overly complex, not overly serious, but just, they have that personal kind of flair to it that gives a little bit of charm. It really kind of stands out and makes you very entertained, at least for myself. But I have to say, when it came to the more serious and more kind of really well written sequences, it was pretty amazing this episode. Now this week's episode has probably my favorite sequence across all of the Demon Slayer episodes. Muzan is absolutely terrifying. This is a man who's naturally blended into modern life. A demon who has lived for centuries has now blended into the common folk, wearing normal clothing, probably having a normal job, hell, even getting a normal family. However, he's clearly still quite deranged, and this has to be some of the worst luck anyone who's went out for a night of drinking has ever had. You know, there's plenty of stories where you hear about, I wish I didn't do that when I was drunk, and these people had the worst case of that. You know, a couple of assholes being a little too loudmouthed, and then you push the buttons of the wrong person, and seeing how this man who at first seemingly could kind of pass people by, not just go into a demonic rage, but then when you insult his skin color, which seems to be a very big tick of his, someone saying that he doesn't look human, even though he's trying to blend in with it, will cause him to just smack a guy against the wall, 1-hit KO, to then kicking a man upwards, to then tormenting a woman who not only just lost 2 people around her that were close to her, then has her head just destroyed by infusing blood into her until she pops like a balloon. It's, holy shit, that was disturbing. It was both something I was so mesmerized by because I was like, this really highlights not only how hard he's trying to conceal his identity, really make it feel like he is a human, but so if you insult him saying he doesn't look human, it's going to set him off in a fit of rage, but also, it is just so disgusting and tormenting watching something like this play out. The way they go about framing shots, even if it's not a horror sequence, is just so mesmerizing because it perfectly captures the emotions at hand. Whether it be Muzan just completely tormenting innocent humans, to just the more almost, what is happening? The very curious aura that's around you being like, what is going to happen next? The way they go about framing and just directing shots, that easily could be very boring and basic, actually pretty mesmerizing. It does help that the art style is very gorgeous and rarely dips, but it is just how the camera work is being presented that really sells a lot of these sequences. Seeing our main character try his best to once again save someone, and this is a sequence where I was like, Tanjiro, you can't. Like, I was really doubting that he could do anything, especially with a swarm of people. He knows that this man hasn't killed anyone yet, so there's still a chance that in his mind they could be saved. And if it wasn't for the demon doctor, who knows what would have happened? Obviously, the police officers would have thrown him off, they would have got killed, innocent people would get killed, and then Tanjiro would kill this man and then just blame himself for not doing enough. And what I love about this sequence is we're learning a lot about the demon world, and it does still seem like only Muzan can actually turn people into demons, but as we see, with enough hundreds of years of experience and just being someone who understands the human body, or I should say demonic body, well enough, we're seeing that with enough time and dedication, other demons can turn someone into a demon or also reverse it with the right knowledge. And I love just how they went about exploring the demon aura in this episode, because you see the flowers. It immediately looks like it's something beautiful, even though it starts off so demonic, literally ripping your own skin off to then this flower scent, that it was such a weird feeling, because you knew this has to be a demon, but is this a trick? Is this a demon that's trying to lure you in thinking it's pure and special and lovely to then, holy shit, you just get killed? Or was it actually someone to trust and we see an unlikely ally? Because that is so interesting to me, because the aspect I was really curious about was, if there is only one person who can turn people into demons, how the hell are you going to reverse Nezuko's curse? Because you're not going to work with this guy who a lot of people are saying looks like Michael Jackson, which I really like because it absolutely is true. So it's interesting how they introduce a mechanic that it gives you a hopeful outcome of like, okay, if you kill enough demons who are basically as powerful as the headman in charge, more than likely we can study that blood, study your sister's blood, and most likely design a cure not only just for her, but for other people who want to turn back into being a human. And it gives you a logical path, because up to this point, it almost felt like a fool's dream. You really want to save your sister, but no allies in the demon world past her. Good luck with that, you're gonna get yourself killed. But now we're seeing that there are some demons who actually can do something interesting, and seeing a girl who kind of blends in herself with the common folk, but is actually helping people, not turning people into demons just for her own fun, but rather if they are on their deathbed, if there is no cure for them, ask, would you like to basically live forever? However, you will have to drink blood. And that's really interesting to me, because I love the idea of demons in this show, because it's very similar to vampires. They're not mindless creatures. Sure, some can get lost in mindless rage, depending on their hunger and thirst, but for the most part, they do have a thought process, but the more you give into that demonic rage, the less human you will be. So it's interesting to see a doctor who is able to modify herself and others so they don't have to actually eat, but just drink a small amount of blood. And for a doctor, getting human blood wouldn't be that big of a deal, because you're just getting transfusions, things of that nature. So just with how they went about actually exploring such an interesting character who had a fun personality, a little kind of held back. You didn't really know what she was saying all that much, because she had a very calm persona. You couldn't tell, was she hiding something, or was this just how she was? But at the end of this episode, I feel as if you can trust her, even if she may have some secrets up her sleeve, with maybe it is only Nezuko that could be saved with this cure. And I like that. It was such a great episode, not only just for the comedic elements that I thought were actually pretty charming for the most part. They did get a chuckle out of me, which up to this point, the comedy has been entertaining, but I haven't laughed out loud. That is until episode 8 of Demon Slayer. But then when you just see what Muzan is doing and just how terrifying he is, the little things that make him tick, and clearly if you insult his persona, if you say he doesn't look human, that is going to set him off. And also clearly is that his family is not in on this, so he's clearly manipulating them and hiding in plain sight, which I quite like. But you also get the confirmation that the earrings that Tanjiro wears clearly is something that makes him tick, and based on that, his family in the past must have done some shit to him that really is setting him off the edge. But when it came to the Demon Doctor, I just loved what she did for the story. Not only was she a good personality, a good addition that actually is aiding Tanjiro in his journey, it actually gives his end goal some sense of hope. It's not going to be easy. He has to fight demons that are on par with the big bad. However, you at least have a demon ally who is saying, I could probably do something, but here are the kind of obligations you'll have to meet, because it's not going to be an easy journey. Up to this point, a lot of people would say he's an idiot. There's no way he's going to find a demon to work with, because clearly Nezuko is the exception. And I like that. Not only does it give the end goal some hope, kind of make you feel like, okay, shit could actually happen, it just fleshes out this cast in an interesting way. Give it a sense of personality, some fun, some serious dramatic, and then ending with a amazing cliffhanger that is just, holy shit, these people are absolutely destructive, and it's going to be interesting to see what a couple of demons and a demon slayer could do going forward with next week's battle. This episode was great. It was definitely one of my favorites of Demon Slayer. It was just fun, it was exhilarating, it was serious, and it just really blended all the elements that I've really come to appreciate within this series. The voice actors continue to give it their all, even the one and done characters like the people getting killed by Muzan in this episode. I wasn't expecting that impressive of voice acting, but from selling the drunken walk home to just, holy shit, you are tormenting me, you really appreciate the voice actors in this Japanese dub. They really give it their all, and it's not just a voice, there's actually acting behind it. And just when it comes to the overall music, when it sets the mood, it is so great. There's this sound effect that after the opening plays and it's kind of giving you the title sequence to then transitioning into the episode, there's a sound effect that sounds so familiar to ReZero, so that kind of like ambient witch noise that just sends shivers down your spine. There's something that's very similar within every episode of Demon Slayer that just kicks it off and you're like, this feels so demonic but a little inspiring, and I love what the music and just overall sound design can do to really sell the atmosphere at hand. Demon Slayer is just getting better by the week, in all honesty. Like, even though this wouldn't be my favorite out of all the episodes, definitely probably top 2 or top 3, it still feels like the story just keeps getting more interesting, keeps continuously getting fleshed out, and feeling more hopeful, even though things are getting more challenging for our main character as he is going forward. And I just can't wait to see more about the Demon Slayer world and just the demons themselves, because knowing that there is going to be potentially one or maybe even more demons who will aid Tanjiro, it makes it feel a lot more hopeful, but also give it an interesting spin to the world overall, and this was a fantastic episode. The thing that I really appreciate about Demon Slayer, I think the most, is how it feels so classic to something around the Fullmetal Alchemist era that blends that shonen just drama, comedy, just so damn flawlessly, but also has really interesting world mechanics, character mechanics, and just stories to tell overall, so it feels like it's well written. It just gets more interesting as it goes, and it feels like something that honestly could have been pulled from the FMA era, in my honest opinion, and I don't say that a lot. That's a very high compliment, and if I'm already saying something to that nature at episode 8 of this 2-core anime, that says a whole lot about how much I'm really enjoying this. I liked it at episode 1, it was a little iffy at episode 2 with just kind of blending the serious and dramatic, but this show is absolutely remarkable, and still, I'm not surprised it's so many people's anime of the season. For everyone who did watch though, what did you think of this week's episode of Demon Slayer? Did you enjoy the comedy or the serious and dramatic as much as me, or is there something you want to see a bit more of? Let me know down in the comment section below, and if you did enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like and also hit that subscribe button if you haven't been new. So until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.